Moving on to the Xfinity series. Once again, just like the Truck series, the Cup series, Xfinity is pretty hard to predict for me, especially in the playoff bubble. In the case of the Xfinity series, I have 19 drivers that I believe have a realistic shot at making the playoffs. And by realistic, I mean either make it in on points, or in the case of the smaller teams, I can see a scenario where you can actually win a race. I didn't, so apologies if you don't see any Jake Buford or Ryan Vargas or Jesse Woody here. Apologies in advance. I just don't think those guys will win a race or be high enough in points to even make the playoffs. Like, it's pretty hard already to make the top 12 in points when you see some of the names that are here. And even some of the newcomers are actually looking pretty sporty this season. So anyways, let's get into it. Starting off with the playoff locks, of course, gonna start with Ty Gibbs, regular season champion last year, AJ Allmendinger, defending series champion Daniel Hemrick. I don't feel there's much pushback there. Justin Allgaier is also there, and Noah Gragson. I believe those 5 guys are. Of course, let's add Josh Berry there too. 6. Those 6 guys, I believe, are gonna be the main guys, like the top 6 drivers this season, and because of that, they are playoff locks in my opinion. Another guy that I believe is gonna be a playoff lock to me is Sheldon Creed. Again, just like in the Truck series, by playoff locks, I mean I am 99.9% sure they will make the playoffs. Of course, something might go wrong. And some of these guys might suffer a collapse, but I just don't see that very likely. It's in the cards, but it's so unlikely that you might just consider them playoff locks. Sheldon Creed, I feel like he's gonna be one of the, if not the favorite for Rookie of the Year this season. Yeah, the guy's looking pretty good. ARCA champion, Truck champion. He has a very solid body of work up until this point that I believe he is a playoff lock, and a pretty underrated prospect in my opinion. I know that all the talk has been about Ty Gibbs, and for good reason, but don't forget Sheldon Creed. Don't sleep on this guy. He has potential to make like a dark horse run to the championship 4. And also another playoff lock I have is Brandon Jones. Now, of course, of all of the 8 guys I have here, Jones is like the one guy that I believe if something happens to him, he's the most likely to like collapse, fall to the bubble, or miss the playoffs altogether. I do not bank on that though, because the guy, ever since he entered Joe Gibbs Racing, he has made the playoffs every single season. So I think that streak is gonna continue. That 19 team has a lot of playoff experience under their belt. So I trust Brandon Jones will make the playoffs very solidly. Now we only have 4 spots left, and as you can see, those 4 guys are gonna be in the bubble. So first of all, let's start with the smaller teams. Jeremy Clements, Brandon Brown, Ryan Sieg. It's gonna be very hard for them to crack the top 12 with how crowded the playoff field is this time. There are so many full-time drivers that are in good rides and solid equipment that I believe, in order for them to make the playoff run, they're gonna have to win. In the case of Jeremy Clements and Brandon Brown, they have already won. Each of them, they have won 1 race each. In the case of Ryan Sieg, he has come pretty close, but he's also had a few solid seasons. I'll say that Ryan Sieg's best season is better than Brandon Brown and Jeremy Clements' best seasons, even though Clements and Brown, they have won and Ryan Sieg hasn't. I believe the fact that Ryan Sieg has a better season kind of puts him in the same tier as those guys, but my point still stands. Those 3 guys, they need to win, because I don't think they will point their way into the playoffs. Speaking of pointing their way in, Austin Hill, I got him just like Sheldon Creed. Hill is a very solid driver. I don't think he's as solid as Sheldon Creed, because he didn't win as I guess they won about the same amount of races now that I think about it. But still, Austin Hill, just like Sheldon Creed, is a bit of an underrated prospect, I'll say. Of course, he doesn't have the body of work that Sheldon Creed has. So, because of that, I feel like Sheldon Creed, he's going to be the better of the RCR guys. Hill, I still have him making the playoffs pretty solidly. As is Landon Castle. I feel just like Jeff Burton last year, Castle's going to be like the weak link, quote unquote, of the 3 colleague cars. But he's still going to be pretty solid. I feel like this is like his first opportunity on quality equipment since his rookie season in 2008, when he was running part-time for JR Motorsports. So yeah, I have pretty high hopes for him. Myatt Schneider, he won a race last season, but outside of that, he was pretty mid. If it wasn't for that win, he could have possibly been in the playoff bubble and possibly missed the playoffs altogether. So because of that and the fact that the playoff field is much more deeper now, I think he's gonna have a hard time making the playoffs if he doesn't win a race. I don't think he will win, and I think he would just barely miss it out on points. Same case for Jeff Burton. And Riley Hurst, yeah, it is what it is at this point with Hurst. Look, he caught a lucky break with the Michael Annett injury, and now that the playoff field is much deeper, yeah, he's gonna have to win, and I don't think he will. I've just almost about given up on the guy. And so the final 2 spots come down to Brett Moffitt, Sam Mayer, and Anthony Alfredo. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Jeff Burton was kind of in that conversation as well. I originally had Jeff Burton among my 12 guys making the playoffs here, but eventually I decided against it because I just felt that Brett Moffitt, he's gonna be the best driver at Our Motorsports. That guy has built the team from the ground up, and I feel he's gonna be the best driver on that team just by talent and the fact that, of course, he has been the longest tenured driver on that team. So the final playoff spot will come down to Sam Mayer and Alfredo. Again, I originally had Jeff Burton making the playoffs, but then I eventually switched over to Anthony Alfredo, and finally I decided that, you know, I'm gonna give Sam Mayer the edge here. Not only because he's driving a JR Motorsports car, but also because I feel the guy has potential. I get it that he was rushed. I am of the opinion that Sam Mayer was rushed, and he had a lot of moments of inexperience in that running that 8 car last season. But he also showed flashes of brilliance, like finishing 4th at Martinsville with a torn up race car. And I believe that's gonna be the story of that season. He's going to have some moments where he struggles, where he looks inexperienced. But as the season goes on, I believe he's gonna pick up some steam, potentially be in contention to win some races or even win one altogether. And if he wins, that's pretty much a wrap for him. That pretty much locks him into the playoffs. I don't know if he will win. He could potentially win a race, I feel like. But if he doesn't, I feel he's going to have a strong second half that's going to propel him to the playoffs. So, yeah, I feel like Mayer is going to make the playoffs and just barely edge out Anthony Alfredo and Jeff Burton for that final playoff spot. Again, when I say playoff bubble, I say these are the drivers that are more likely to make it the playoffs, but I am not like 100% sure as these guys are. I am not as sure as these guys here. So if something goes wrong, something happens to any of these guys and they don't make the playoffs, somebody else wins a race, one of these guys wins a race, then yeah, it's gonna most likely knock out one of these guys out of the playoff picture. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, anyways, those are my Xfinity predictions. Again, My Cup Series predictions are gonna be coming out on Sunday, I feel like. Yeah, Sunday morning. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye.